mahasiswa Usim dan Unisula. Morning everyone. To the Honorable Rectorate of Sultan Agung Islamic University, represented by the Head of the International Affairs and Collaboration Unit, Riana Permatasari MPDMA, Dean of Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, University Science Islam Malaysia, Profesor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Samsir Muaris, Dean of Faculty of Medicine Unisula, Dr. Setio Trisnadi, SPKFSI, Usim delegates, heads of study programs, and lecturer of the Unisula Faculty of Medicine, Usim and Unisula students as seminar participants. Dengan mengucap syukur Alhamdulillah, marilah kita panjatkan puji syukur hadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala atas rahmat dan karunia-Nya sehingga kita dapat dipertemukan pada pagi ini, hari Rabu 30 November 2022, dalam acara mini seminar Visiting Profesor dari Fakultas Kedokteran dan Ilmu Kesehatan University Science Islam Malaysia. Selawat dan salam hendaknya kita sanjungkan kepada Nabi besar Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam yang kita nantikan syafaatnya di hari akhir. By saying Alhamdulillah, all praise due to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His mercy and grace, so that we can meet at this morning, Wednesday, November 13, 2022, in this event, mini seminar. Visiting Professor from the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, University Science Islam Malaysia. Salawat and greetings should be conveyed to the great Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which we look forward to intercession at the end of the day. For this event, I would like to read for the agenda. First, opening. Second, recitation of the Holy Quran. Third, singing the Indonesia Raya and the Unisula hymn. Fourth, introduction of the delegations. Fifth, panel mini seminar and discussion. Sixth, courtesy call. 7, closing followed by campus tour. Baik Bapak Ibu, marilah kita masuk ke acara yang pertama, yaitu pembukaan. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin the first agenda. Let's open this event by recite Surah Al-Fatihah. Al-Hadiniyah wa kulli niyatin sholihah bi barakatil ummil Quran. Al-Fatihah. Mudah-mudahan dengan bacaan surah Al-Fatihah, acara kita pada hari ini dapat berjalan dengan penuh keberkahan. Hopefully, with the recitation of surah Al-Fatihah, our event will be full of blessing. Cara selanjutnya adalah pembacaan ayat suci Al-Quran. The next agenda is the recitation of the Holy Quran by Muhammad Bassam Farhan Maulid.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Ya inna khalaqnakum min dzakari wa untha وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم Lallahi ataqakum. Innallaha alimun khabir. Sadaqallahul azim. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Muhammad Basam. I hope that the recitation of the Holy Quran will increase our faith and devotion to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Cara selanjutnya adalah menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya dan himne Unisulan. Dear ladies and gentlemen, please stand up to sing Indonesia Raya and Unisula hymn. Bapak Ibu dipersilahkan untuk duduk kembali. Acara selanjutnya adalah sambutan-sambutan. The first speech will be given by the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine Unisula. Please welcome Dr. Setio Trisnadi, SPKF SH.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wa bihi nasta'inu ala umuri dunya waddin. Salatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. Puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala yang telah melimpahkan, menganugerahkan nikmat rahmatnya kepada kita semua. Sholawat dan salam kita sanjungkan ke Nabi Muhammad SAW sebagai umatnya, kita berharap akan syafaatnya di yaumul akhir. Yang berbahagia ini, kami menyambut saudara kita dari University Sains Malaysia yang dipimpin langsung oleh Bapak Dekan, Profesor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Samsir Muharis serta rombongan. Selamat datang di Semarang, selamat datang di Fakultas Kedokteran Unisula, Prof. Fakultas Kedokteran Unisula dan Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences Usim sudah bekerja sama sejak tahun 2015 yang diawali visiting profesor oleh Profesor Rafidah Hanim 2016, dilanjut 2018. Kemudian dilanjutkan dengan kegiatan pertukaran mahasiswa dari SIM maupun dari Unisula, dan insya Allah Unisula akan mengirimkan mahasiswa ke Usim pada tanggal 25 Desember sebanyak 9 mahasiswa yang akan mengikuti modul elektif Forensic Medicine and Islamic Fiqh. Kami berharap kerjasama ini terus berlangsung dan berlanjut semakin meningkat. Di kami dengan istilah tridharma ya, tidak hanya pendidikan, tapi dilanjut juga dengan penelitian maupun pengabdian, di mana kegiatan dharma itu pada institusi pendidikan kami sangat bermanfaat untuk kemajuan. Kesempatan ini pula kami memohon maaf jika dalam menerima rombongan Prof. Datuk ada kekurangannya, kami mohon untuk dimaafkan. Saya berharap tidak hanya sehari sebetulnya ya, bisa berhari-hari di sini, nanti kita bisa melihat kota Semarang, di malam kota Semarang bawah, Semarang atas belum, dan destinasi-destinasi yang ada di kota Semarang ya, baik itu yang dekat dengan tadi malam Kampung Laut itu ada Mayokoco ya, itu gambaran kecil Jawa Tengah. Kemudian ada Kota Lama, Lawang Sewu. Kalau dulu 999 tambah pintunya jadi 1000, Lawang 1000 ya, pintu 1000. Jadi 1000. Kemudian Sampokong dan lain-lain bisa nanti menjadi kenangan di Semarang ya. Kalau mahasiswa sudah ya, sudah kemana-mana ya. Student sudah sampai kemana-mana. Mohon maaf dalam pengerjaan pembangunan sehingga ada ketidaknyamanan di lingkungan kami di kampus seluas 40 hektar ini kampus ini ya, dikelola oleh pemiliknya yaitu Yayasan Badan Wakaf Sultan Agung. Kami semuanya wakaf, termasuk bangunan-bangunan ini, semoga wakifnya pahalanya terus mengalir karena dimanfaatkan untuk pendidikan maupun layanan kesehatan. Di samping pendidikan, Yayasan Badan Wakaf Sultan Agung mengelola juga amalan rumah sakit ya. Di rumah sakit, pendidikan, dan dakwah. 3 hal tersebut yang dilakukan oleh Yayasan Badan Wakaf Sultan Agung. Kami Fakultas Kedokteran merupakan satu di antara 11 fakultas. Dan kami mengelola ada 7 program studi yang tentunya nanti bisa berlanjut kerjasamanya dengan Usim. Demikian yang bisa kami sampaikan. Terima kasih sekali lagi. Selamat datang. Semoga kerjasama terus meningkat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to the Dean of Medical Faculty of Unisula for the welcoming remarks. The second speech will be given by the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, University Sains Islam Malaysia. Please welcome Profesor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Samsir Muharis.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih pada pengerusi majlis yang saya hormati, Pak Dr. Setio Trisnadi, Dekan Fakultas Kedokteran Unisula, dan rakan-rakan daripada Unisula, daripada dosen-dosennya dan juga pelajar-pelajar Unisula. Izinkan saya perkenalkan diri saya dahulu. Saya Dr. Syamsir. Mudah dipanggil dia sebagai Syamsir saja. Kalau nama ini begitu panjang. Diamanahkan untuk menjadi dekan di Fakulti Perubatan dan Sains Kesihatan Usim. Dan bersama-sama dengan kami ada 8 orang lagi dosen-dosen yang lain. Izinkan saya, Pak, untuk perkenalkan semuanya satu persatu. Di sebelah saya duduknya tadi adalah Prof. Muhammad Fazilah. Mungkin kena bangun dan pusing ke belakang, saya rasa. Kalau angkat tangan saya di depan tidak nampak. Ya. Prof. Muhammad Fazilah adalah dosen di bahagian psikiatri. Ya. Dan sini adalah Prof. Nazifah. Ya. Dia dosen di bahagian biochemistry dan juga timbalan dekan itu untuk research dan inovasi. Okay. Sebelahnya ialah Prof. Nur Syam, ya. Dosen di bahagian fisiologi, ya. Okay. Dan di belah sana ialah Prof. Nur Fazilah, ya. Dosen di bahagian hematologi, hematopatologi, right? Dan juga timbalan dekan di bahagian akademik dan antarabangsa. Sebelahnya Dr. Nadia, right? Dosen di bahagian public health. Kami panggil public health. Nanti balik kami akan panggil dia pengabdian masyarakat. Supaya dia lebih dekat lagi dengan masyarakat. Right? Okay. Belakangnya ialah Prof. Azmani. Dia dosen di bahagian emergency medicine, kecemasan. Dan juga timbalan dekan hak ehwal pelajar dan alumni. Dan sebelahnya ialah Prof. Khairullah, dosen di bahagian, kalau di sana panggil ENT, tapi di sini THT, tambah lagi apa, leher. Okay. Ya, okay. Right. Kalau dilihat rombongan kami semuanya dekan dan timbalan dekan berada di sini. Jadi kalau yang di sana di Usim sekarang tiada, penerajunya tiada di fakulti. Semuanya berada di sini. Right? So kami ingin menunjukkan bahawa kami agak serius ya bila berada di sini, dan kalau boleh seperti mana yang Pak Dekan tadi maklumkan, lawatan pertama dulu adalah Profesor pelawat daripada Prof. Rafidah. Prof. Rafidah sebenarnya ingin juga hadir ke hari, tapi ada masalah ya yang perlu diusahakan, so tidak dapat hadir. Dan kami juga menghantar pelajar, saya rasa 2-3 tahun lepas ya. 2 tahun lepas sebelum PKP, dan kali ini kami menghantar cuma dapat sempat hantar 2 orang pelajar. Sebelumnya 12 orang juga. 10 orang berminat tapi ada masalah di mana pesawat AirAsia tiba-tiba membatalkan tiket mereka. So yang dapat hadir adalah cuma 2 orang. Saya harap 2 ini boleh menunjukkan apa itu mahasiswa Usim yang kami ingin hasilkan. Saya harap mereka tidak mengecewakan kami lah. Okay. Kami sebenarnya berasa beruntung berada di Unisula Pak. Tiada kecacatan, tiada kekurangan sebenarnya. Semuanya kita lihat banyak yang kelebihan yang ini. Unisula saya rasa banyak kita boleh belajar daripada Unisula, terutama daripada segi konsep wakafnya untuk menubuhkan sebuah universiti dan menubuhkan juga rumah sakit yang berkonsepkan wakaf. Kami di Usim kami mencuba untuk menubuhkan tapi rumah sakit, tapi saya rasa mungkin agak sukar kerana konsep wakaf di dalam kesihatan belum lagi begitu, saya rasa belum begitu sinonim dengan masyarakat di Malaysia. Yang mereka tahu wakaf adalah wakaf kuburan, wakaf masjid dan itu semua sahaja. Tapi bukan wakaf dalam kesihatan. Apa yang kami ada adalah sebuah wakaf klinik kesihatan sahaja. Itu sahaja, sekecil. Dan juga mungkin ada yang tahu yang pernah datang ke Usim, kita ada klip mobile, iaitu klinik pakar bergerak. Itu ialah konsep wakaf ini yang masih lagi kecil. Kita rasa kita harap kita dapat bersama-sama dengan Unisula untuk melihat bagaimana cara untuk menubuhkan rumah sakit dengan konsep wakaf ini. Ya, so terima kasih kepada Dr. Putri kerana sudi menyambut kami di bandara kemarin walaupun lewat. Masih juga menunggu dan membawa kami ke makan di tempat yang menarik dan sedap, right? Sampai kami nak tidur pun suka masih perut masih ini. Okey, itulah saya kata tiada kekurangan, semuanya ada. Ya, yang kami dapat adalah semuanya yang enak-enak belaka. So kami berharap ini bukannya kali pertama. Ini kali pertama sebenarnya saya berada di sini di Unisula dan juga di Semarang, dan bukan kali pertama. Hopefully kita akan datang juga berterusan, dan saya ingin menjemput dosen-dosen dan juga mungkin pelajar-pelajar daripada Unisula untuk datang ke Usim. Mungkin sambutan kami tidaklah dapat menandingi sambutan di Unisula, tapi kami akan cuba untuk bersama-sama. Sebab saya rasa saya lihat konsep pengajaran di Unisula dan konsep pengajaran di Usim, iaitu fakultas kami, lebih kurang sama. So, terima kasih sekali lagi Pak. Terima kasih sekali lagi kepada semua. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to the Dean of Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, University Science Islam Malaysia, for the welcoming remarks and the introduction of the 7 delegates. Once again, we welcome you to the Faculty of Medicine, Sultan Agong Islamic University. Baik Bapak Ibu, mari kita lanjutkan acara ini dengan mini seminar dan diskusi. Mini seminar terdiri dari 6 pembicara. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, moving right along to the mini seminar and discussion agenda. The mini seminar consists of six speakers. Let me read all of the term and the speakers. First, Bystander Quality CPR, The Way Forward, by Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Asmani Sahar. Second, Team-Based Learning, TBL, in the Medical Education, The Way Forward, by Associate Professor Dr. Nur Fazila Zulkifli. Third, Gene Expression in Cervical Cancer, a Systematic Review and an Integrated Bioinformatical Analysis by Associate Professor Dr. Nursam Juliana, by Associate Professor Dr. Nazifa Abdul Hamid. Fourth, Chrononutrition, Behavior, and its Relationship with Body Weight among Young Adults by Associate Professor Dr. Nursam Juliana Nurki. Fifth, The Stem Cell in the Future Medicine by Associate Professor Dr. Agung Putra, MSc Med. Sixth, Achieving Glycemic Control Safety in Type 2 Diabetes Mellitus by Dr. Nur Ana Halimah Sa'dia, SPPD KIMD. Discussion will be moderated by Dr. Fadli Rizal Makarim M. Biomen. To the moderators, the time is yours.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to mini seminar, visiting professor from Faculty Medicine and Health Science, University Science Islam Malaysia, brought to you by Faculty of Medicine, Sultan Agong Islamic University. My name is Rizal Makarim, will be hosting the sessions today. First of all, I would like to thank to the committee and speakers for making this event happen. Before we start our session, the first session today, attendees would like to ask some question regarding the session today. You can write in the chat box in Zoom meetings, or you can ask in the session today in the this room. We will read the question at the end of the speaker session. All right, let's jump to our first session today. We will present Bystander Quality CPR, The Way Forward, brought to you by Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Asmani Sahar. Okay, before we start, let me introduce our speaker. Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Asmani Sahar is a Deputy Dean, Student Affairs and Alumni, Consultant Emergency Physician, and a medical lecturer in University Science Islam Malaysia, Usim. He obtained his medical degree from University Kebangsaan Malaysia and Master of Emergency Medicine from University Malaya. He had a broad background in emergency medicine with personal interest in cardiopulmonary resuscitation. He was formerly the head of Department of Trauma and Emergency Medicine in Hospital Tuanku Ampuan Najihah Kuala Pilah. Currently, he is a medical lecturer in University Saint Islam Malaysia, served as an emergency physician at Ampang Hospital, and currently as Deputy Dean of Student Affairs and Alumni in FPSK Usim. He actively participates in various research involving pre-hospital care and medical device. And he also had numerous scientific papers in conference locally and internationally. He has also authored books, chapters in book, and that related to emergency medicine. All right, to my honor, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Asman Ishar, the time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sorry for the delay. First of all, I would like to thank Universitas Unisila, Pak Dekan, dan juga Dekan from Dean from Usim, and all my fellow colleagues, and to the all nurse, doctors, students, the administrator of Unisila. The topic that I'm going to talk about today is about CPR, the quality of CPR, bystander CPR. This is very important topics. Before I start, I believe that everyone here has had an experience of doing CPR, but the difference whether you do it in the hospital or out of hospital setting. Me, myself, as an emergency physician, I only experienced 3 times doing CPR out of hospital. So the feeling is totally different. You imagine that you don't have equipment, you don't have support, but if patient arrested in the hospital is something like nothing, right? So meaning if we are ready to perform CPR. But if it occur out of hospital, that is something different. Even though you are well trained, but the feeling is totally different. The first experience, a patient collapsed outside of stadium where she wanted to attend some event related to Al-Quran, Majlis Tilawah Al-Quran. So sounds very nice. It's collapsed going to attend Majlis Tilawah Al-Quran. So I attended there, then I performed CPR. That is number 1. Number 2, my neighbor collapsed at 2 a.m. and the husband called me. And I attended. And I had to perform CPR, intubate, then bring the patient to hospital. And the recent one, which occurred around 2 or 3 months ago, my neighbor as well, he had a cardiac arrest, and I attended. She's not breathing. There's no pulse. So I have to perform CPR as well. So what the take-home message? Don't be my neighbor. It's a scary experience. All right. What is important about bystander CPR? Especially during MCO, after pandemic of COVID. So we noticed that the frequency of the willingness of the public to perform CPR is reducing in trend. It occurs all over the world. So it's it's directly related to COVID. As you know that everyone reluctant to touch patient, especially out of hospital. Takut terkena COVID, kan? Common sense. But that is one aspect. Another aspect, how good is the CPR quality? So we need to have a good quality CPR in order to bring up the reduce the mortality rate. So hopefully patient can survive after all. So these are the things that we need to see, and it occurs all over the world, not only in Malaysia. We need to train public to perform CPR. And based on the guideline from the European Heart Association, as well as the AHA, American Heart Association, they encourage to perform CPR chest compression only. Chest compression only. It means that we don't need to give breathing part, blow to the mouth-to-mouth breathing, or using back mouth breathing. So we can push that one, push that side apart, so we can perform chest compression only. So if it's occur at out of hospital setting. So based on that, we should encourage people to perform chest compression only if it is occurred out of hospital. But the next question is, how good is the CPR quality? We need to think about that. So that's why I'm here to give some ideas, to share some information about how good is bystander quality, bystander CPR quality. Next. About the history of CPR. You can see here, 1891, it's quite sometimes, first reported of chest compressions. So until today, next. Before I go further, I would like to ask our student, two of you, what do you think about the below one? Any idea? Je kan, kacau-kacau sikit. This one or that one? Broad QRS, ventricular tachycardia. Okay. Global survival rate among adult out of hospital cardiac arrest. As you can see here, this is the summary of it. Incident of ROSC is return of spontaneous circulation, meaning we managed to get the pulse. Right? So all over the world, it's a systematic review. ROSC is around 30% only. All of cases. And survival to hospital admission is around 23. Survival to hospital discharge is around 8% only. So it's very, very low. So received bystander with CPR is around 11%. Witnessed by a bystander is around 10%. These are very interesting slides. From 1976 to 1999, survival to discharge percentage, it increased 1% only, 1% only. About 1 month survival percent from 2000 to 2009 is 8%, so it increased to 13.3%. And 1 year survival is almost the same figure for 1 month survival. We have a lot of devices to help us to perform CPR. This is AED. You can see this is AED, but the new generation of AED, they have a feedback. So it assists us to perform CPR. From the European Resuscitation Council guideline, one of the recommendation is real-time audio-visual feedback and from devices during CPR in clinical practice as part of comprehensive quality improvement program for cardiac arrest. So these are one of the recommendation to use audio-visual feedbacks. As we know that we've been trained for to perform CPR, it totally depend on the training, right? So if the trainer think that your chest compression is too fast, then they will recommend, oh, this is too fast, slower. So this is the previously those days. But now, with the technologies, we believe that it will help us to improve the quality of CPR. These are some of technology can assist us. Can have all these apps, special apps in Singapore. I believe they have a special apps where it's like a Grab, Gojek. But the customer is those who can perform CPR and AED. So if something happen at outside of hospital, they give an allocation. So those who willing to respond to perform CPR and AED around, AED, they place it in taxi. So the AED is moving all over. So it sounds like Grab, Foodpanda, Gojek, but it's for clinical or health setting. And we have this kind of gadget where it will assist us to perform CPR. Recent is drone. Do we have drone in Indonesia for AED? They give AED, they send AED to the victims. Any idea? Indonesia, we don't have yet. Okay. Another study, Pero study, bystander CPR varies from 10 to 40%, and less than 1% receive bystander defibrillation. So the number is varies, but all over the world is around 20% only. Another study, CPR survival following out of hospital cardiac arrest. This is a summary. Around 152 cases, survival to admission is 28%, hospital discharge 19%, survival to hospital discharge with good neuro status, bystander CPR is 70%. So bystander CPR associated 11-fold increase in survival to hospital discharge. So that's show how important is bystander CPR. If you see at the chain of survival, the first 3 chain of survival in cardiac arrest or basic life support, call on the public, the recognize the cardiac arrest, call, assistant, perform CPR, high quality CPR and AED. So the first 3 is on the public. So that's why it's important for us to encourage public to perform CPR. I need to go faster. In summary, why public refuse or reluctant to perform CPR? It depends on the age. The older they are, they're reluctant to perform. Female, so why female? Maybe because of not confident or the big size or small size, we don't know. Area, rural, this is from the study. And those with higher education able to recognize out of hospital cardiac arrest and the use of public AED. Study showed that real-time CPR and feedback technology improve the quality of CPR during in-hospital cardiac arrest. This is one of it. Saya tidak jual Zul. This is one of the example only, right? This is the AED, and it provide real-time audio visual assist to provide high quality CPR. It will guide us the rate of compression, depth of compression, and chest recoil. You can see here, this is 70-year-old uncle with the assist of this device. They can provide quality CPR. Another simple study done by my team, around 120 participants. If you can see here, those with and without audio visual feedback. So we test them, one with feedback, one without the audio visual feedback. As logically, definitely those with audio and video feedback will give a better result. You can see here, the depth of compression for adult is 5 to 6 cm, and those with audio visual is 5.5. Rate is within the guideline 100-120, and the complete chest recoil increased from 4.7 to 58. That is very, very good. Okay, I'll skip this part. Okay, as you know that now, if you see, everyone will arrange mass CPR training, but most of them, they use normal gadget. Sometimes they use pillow, or sometimes they use a mannequin without any other feedback based on the experience only. So this will reduce the quality of CPR. This is one of it. A device attached to the computer, and then it will give some feedback, audio and video feedback. And I would like to take this opportunity that Usim, we comes up with some solution where we have CPR with mannequin that can provide audio visual feedback. So this is one of our effort to increase the confidence as same as the quality of CPR, especially public, but focusing on chest compression only. So we put aside the breathing part because in the guideline as well, we can skip that part, especially post-pandemic or during pra-endemic, right? So this is one of our product, our Usim, our university. So hopefully it will arrive at the Indonesia, and please support for our university. This is not our own or our company. This is our university product. Okay, so hopefully you can support us. So whatever it is, I believe that with the help of this device, it would improve the quality of CPR, especially for public. The mannequin, it has special apps where we can download now. It's readily available in Apples and Android. You can type QCAT CPR. It will show this logo. The logo. QCAT CPR. Then you can have the apps. These apps has 3 menus. One is learning material during emergency. And finally, it will connect to the CPR mannequin. So if you have the CPR mannequin, then you can connect with the apps, and then it will give real-time audio-visual assistance. sedikit video lah how it looks like. So hopefully once it's readily available in the market, we can support for our university product. This is chest compression only CPR mannequin. So it's focusing on the depth of the compression, how deep is the chest compression, the rate of the compression chest required. Okay, I think that's all for me. So I open for question. Thank you very much.
You, Dr. Hamad Asmani, for the interesting topic. I think we will have the question and answer session after all of the session speakers. May I please laptop please stay here? Yeah. All right, we will going into the second session today. The second session we have Associate Professor Dr. Nasefah Abdul. We have Associate Professor Dr. Nur Samjulianuddin that will be talking about nutrition, entitled chrononutrition behavior and its relationship with body weight among young adults. Before we start the second session today, I will read the curriculum vitae for the Associate Professor Norsam Juliana binti Nurdin. Is an Associate Professor in Medical Science, Usim. She had a Bachelor of Medical Science and Master in Medical Science and Doctor of Philosophy in Nutrition. She had 20 research grants and 13 research awards. She also had 49 journal publications along with 3 books author, with 8 postgraduate supervision and 2 consultation projects. She served as an editorial board of Malaysian Journal of Science, Health and Technology, Health and Consultant for Negeri Sembilan, and Consultant for Negeri Sembilan Child Care Center Association, or PTNI. Okay. Without any further ado, please, Mrs. Associate Professor Dr. Norsam Juliana Nurdin, the time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much to all the organizing committee from Unisula for having us here. So my background is I'm a lecturer in physiology. However, my special interest is combining physiology and nutrition. So what I'm going to talk today is on chrononutrition behavior and its relationship with body weight among young adults. So this area is kind of new in our, still new globally. Since 2016, when we're talking about nutrition, it's not just what we eat nowadays or how much calories, things like that, but now we are concerned on what we eat and when we are going to take it. All right. On unhealth we are focusing this study specifically is focusing on young adults and young adults to make it homogeneous. So we are taking young adults who are still in college. So why we are focusing on young adults? Because unhealthy eating habits we find is we are actually chrononutrition, as I said, is a new area. So we are doing in different groups of subjects. So for young adults, we can see that they are susceptible to unhealthy eating with not just what the intake of they are taking, they are susceptible to intake of sugar as well, especially in their beverages, in their drinks. With the recent lifestyle of multiple trend of sugar beverage drinks, so these young adults are the one that's susceptible of taking it. And also because they are in college, so the easiest way of eating is taking something that fast. So fast food is also part of one of their choice of food daily. So that is why the problem that we can see is as young adults, we know that our metabolism is good, everything functioning still well, our body is trying to adapt, coping with everything. But if they continue with this kind of lifestyle, this will hinder their health and psychological well-being as well, because what we take and when we take it will also affect our alertness and also the mental health. Recent studies show that. So also they tend to skip breakfast. Skipping breakfast actually affects the hypothalamic pituitary function by disturbing the central clock system. So we have the central clock system at the hypothalamus, then also the peripheral clock system that is that's adapting to the intake of energy intake and energy that we utilize, the physical activities. So young adult food habits will result in early deterioration of health. As we can see, there are multiple research nowadays showing that early onset of diabetes, early onset of cardiovascular diseases. Adult, we can see most of them are having this problem of what we call as malnutrition. When we are talking about malnutrition, we focus more on underweight. But malnutrition, those who are overweight is also categorized as malnutrition, because they are overnourished on certain nutrients, but they are undernourished on certain nutrients. That's why there's no balance. So our young adults, we can see they are at the extreme end. Either they are in underweight group or they are in the overweight group. So why is that? So studies show that these are the problems. So to tell them, let us think about our own students, right? Even medical students, they are alert of all these. They are so given the information on all these healthy eatings, what are the nutrients content, the GI system, things like that. But it's still difficult for us to tell them, stop taking sugar beverage, stop taking all these high calories but low in nutrients food or beverages. It's difficult because it's the lifestyle nowadays. And also stop taking fast food. Sometimes when we talk, even in our subjects that we are taking for this study, we did give consultation a bit on telling them, okay, why don't you choose this kind of food, healthier food or things like that. So certain students even mention what we are going to eat because they are students, they are studying. So fast food is one of the choice that they get the easiest way out for them to eat. And also for us to tell the young adults, not just the young adult, for us to tell ourselves to start calorie counting every day. It'll be hectic and even affecting our own mental health, isn't it? So calorie counting nowadays is not very popular so much, all right? And also to tell them about mindful eating. Okay, recent studies also talking about mindful eating. We can see that for adults, which is 40 and above, for those with families, mindful eating is the best way to keep them having good nutrients. But for young adults, for mindful eating, not so much at the moment, the successful rate. Okay, so chrononutrition, what is chrononutrition? It's when we are talking about chrononutrition, because each of us are unique, our body system are unique. Okay, nowadays the studies also focusing on physiologically on the chronotype, which is whether we are the type of morningness eveningness or intermediate person. So in chrononutrition, we are concerned it's related to physiological adaptation to sleeping and irregularities in eating following our own biological clock, which is our own circadian time. So our previous assumptions is that, okay, we have our overall, okay, each one of us, we can calorie counting. So when we want to reduce weight, we just reduce 500 kilocalories. Yes, it works. Previous assumption is whatever we take based on the calories, it will have similar, it will generally affect the same thing overall in 24 hours. But the recent assumption, we find that the types of nutrient that we take and what we take at night will, our body will respond differently. The recent 2019 study done in abroad in USA, it showed that even if we take a meal with this low GI meal, okay, we take low GI meals, similar calories, similar meals, similar items, similar person, we take it at 7 a.m. in the morning, the insulin and glucose load of the body is different when we repeat it, giving the similar GI, similar, and take it at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. At night. So it is different. So then it shows that our body doesn't function similarly to each nutrients or macronutrients that we take at different time of the day. So that is what chrononutrition is all about. We want to ensure when to take it and the time, the restriction frame time that we take it daily. So the gap is the potential association of chrononutrition behavior with BMI in different age group. As I said, this is still new, this area of studies, and it's the area of interest nowadays. So we don't really have the association and for something that we follow in each age. What happens still, there's no data on it. So there's a lot of gaps in chrononutrition still. So just simple study that we did recently, last year we did, which is the objective is to just to elucidate what is the association between chrononutrition behavior and weight of young adults who are in college. So the methods is, this is just association. So we did cross-sectional study. Our sampling frame are college students, age 18 to 35 years old. And why college students? Because usually they will have homogeneous style of having to study, having to live in college or with friends, and literate in English and Malay language. Exclusion criteria, those who already diagnosed with sleep disorders, mental illness, any congenital or genetic disorders or chronic diseases. So the data, we are taking demographic data and also their body mass index. So we focus on using the tool, which is the CPQ Chrononutrition Profile Questionnaire. This Chrononutrition Profile Questionnaire is developed in 2019 and validated in Malay language as well. Our team have validated this Malay language and published it, can be utilized by all nowadays. So this chrononutrition profile questionnaire, it focuses on 6 areas. We are looking on specifically on breakfast skipping and what is the time when you take the largest meal of the day. Because for these each individual with different profiles, mornings or evening person, they have different midday. So when you have different midday, you have to be concerned when is the largest meal that you have to take on the day, when you have to stop 75% of the calories that day, what time you have to stop taking it, right? So then the evening eating, what time is the evening eating, and evening latency, and also night eating, which is night eating is when you sleep at night, then you wake up again and eat. and also the eating window. Because before this, we always hear that breakfast is the important meal of the day. But now, when we are talking about time restriction eating, we are telling people to take breakfast later, isn't it? Is it for intermittent fasting, things like that? So this is later eating. So we can see with now study, we can't really that breakfast is the important meal of the day. It depends on each individual chronobiological functions. So what we see for these students, okay, our results show that most of the students are either in the group of, most of them are in the group of undernutrition. So what I want to emphasize here from the result, okay, this is the raw result. Okay, you can see that poor eating, evening latency, evening eating, night eating, right? So you can see that this group of that are underweight are more susceptible to poor chrononutrition overall. So what scares us? Okay, why we are still ongoing to further this study. So what scares us? Because these students who are underweight, they don't have any motivation to eat healthily. Oh, my weight is okay. I look like a model now, isn't it? So the motivation of having healthy eating is not there as compared to those who are overweight and those who are in normal BMI. But the problem is, I'm highly influenced body weight, specifically highlighting eating meals late at night, impact desynchronization of internal biological clock. The problem when you have this kind of eating at early age, you will bring out the years. Okay, when you bring it throughout the years, okay, as you know, when we grow old, when we age, this kind of desynchronization of your biological clock will then affect your health badly. All right. So night eating is associated with body weight. We know when we did this similar study, we have another study that we considered publishing among women. We send it to Frontiers in Nutrients. So what we see is these women, okay, they have those who have high BMI or high BMI, okay, they have this tendency of night eating. But young adults, they have this night eating, those who are underweight. So you can see if they bring this kind of attitude towards adulthood, towards their life, this will, if the effect may come later. Okay, but that is still a hypothesis, assumptions. We have to follow the similar group in order to assure our assumption is correct. So vast heterogeneity in sleeping patterns among young adults in college. You can be so surprised when you look at our data. You can see that young adults can wake up as late as 2 p.m. They wake up, not in the morning, they wake up in the evening, I could see. There are students like that. So large heterogeneity in young adults on their sleeping patterns. And young adults usually establish their eating habits during their years in college, and the behavior often continuous in adulthood. All these statements I took from references. I'm so sorry that I forgot to cite it down there. So these references show that it is proven if we didn't of these kind of eating habits among the young adults, this will be brought to their adulthood and also increase the burden to the country on non-communicable diseases. That is all from me. So my conclusion is the general lack of knowledge regarding healthy and timely eating among college young adults must be a concern to all of us. And these young adults tend to become overweight, skip meals, develop various eating disorders, and these young adults are constantly exposed to unhealthy lifestyle. poor dietary choices without knowing the consequences. So we have to focus on interventions, on assuring that each one of us is alert about this our biological system, and also when we should take our food, our meal. So with this, I end my presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Juliana Nurdin. That's a very interesting topic we have about chrononutrition. I think we have the question and answer in the end of this whole session. Thank you. Okay, next up into the third session today, we have Associate Professor Dr. Nur Fazila Zulkifli that will present team-based learning, or TBL, in medical education, the way forward. Professor Dr. Nur Fazila, please to come in front.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Dr. Fazila. Okay, as introduced by the Dean just now, I'm a hematopathologist, but education is very close to my heart. Okay, so today I will share with you on our experience in team-based learning. So I am in the medical education unit, and the faculty has sponsored me for a fellowship training in Singapore, the fellowship in team-based learning in Duke and US. In 2015 and 16. So when I finished that training, we come back and start the training for our lecturers, and we did a pilot study on the implementation of the team-based learning. And Alhamdulillah, it is now the teaching method in Usim. Team-based learning is something quite new in Malaysia. I think quite a few numbers of universities are trying to implement TBL. But I'm not sure about Indonesia. Are you all using team-based learning? Yes, okay. So we will just do some sharing, and we can improve on our teaching, yeah? Okay, team-based learning. So since you all are quite familiar with team-based learning, it is learning in small teams. Yeah? So usually we form teams in a small group, about 7 or 8 students in a team, and it is strategically formed, which means you have a mixture of male and female students, good students and poor students, and with different background, like the international student mixed with the local students, yeah, so to enrich their experience in learning. And these teams are permanent, so they will be in the same team for the whole year, right? And this method of teaching is believed to facilitate in active learning, because they discuss. The classroom will be very noisy because they will be discussing in their group. So in TBL, it involves the students, the learning materials, and the peers. Okay, so let's have a look at the history of the team-based learning. Okay, it is started by Larry Mickelson in University of Oklahoma in 1976, if I'm not mistaken. This is not in the medical faculty. It is in economic class, if I'm not mistaken. So it was triggered by the increasing number of students. So the lecturer thought, how do I engage the last class of students in effective problem solving? Yeah? So he starts thinking, what should we do? And he also thought how to ensure students to come to the class prepared. Okay. So they come up with the idea that the learning materials should be provided before the class starts. Yeah, we give the materials. So it can be in the form of lectures, videos, or the hard copy, soft copy learning materials. Yeah, and when they come to the class, prepared with whatever learning materials given to them, they will be tested individually and later tested in the team. Yeah, so they have to do some homework and engage to the activity. And this will encourage active learning, because after the test, they will have an exercise on problem solving. So in USIM, usually we give case studies or case scenario for them to discuss. Yeah. So they apply their knowledge in these application activities.
Okay, as a overview, you emphasize on the students' preparation out of the class where you give the materials earlier, so they have to prepare. And at the end of the session, they have to apply their knowledge in the application activities. Okay, this is the process of the TBL. It started with the pre-class preparation where we give the learning materials. They have to do their own study. They have to attend the lectures or any demonstration given to them. And these will be followed by individual readiness assurance tests, or known as IRAT. So in IRAT, they have to attempt on set of questions, usually in the form of MCQs, multiple choice questions. They have to attempt on their own and they submit their answers. So you can have some idea which students are good and which students are not so good and which students are excellent. So you already have the idea of your classroom. Yeah. Then immediately it will be followed by a TRAT, Teams Readiness Assurance Test, in which the student will sit in their group. They discuss on the same questions and they submit their answer as a group, a consensus from the group. Okay, so they submit and we can see there are improvement in their marks because they have discussion, they have active learning. Okay, so during the discussion, you can pick up on the poor students and ask them to discuss, come up with and discuss their, defend their answers. So it is a very good form of active learning, build up the students' confidence, and also very good team work in the group. Okay. Then after that, you will have immediate feedback session. Okay. In the feedback session, you will only need one facilitator to control the big classroom. They will sit in their team and there will be discussion inter-team. Okay, they have to defend their answers. Okay, so this is a very good practice for them for public speaking, yeah, for critical thinking. That will be a very good for them. And you have the experts, content experts in the classroom to clarify whatever they are not sure about. Okay. And after that, the next session will be the application activities, in which usually group solving or case discussion for them to apply their knowledge. Yeah? And at the end, you will have a feedback session and peer evaluation to make sure that everyone contribute to the teaching and learning activities. Okay, these are the essential elements of TBL. Yeah, you need to have a proper group, yeah, in which, as I mentioned just now, about 5 to 7 students in the team, and should be the development of the group should be properly done. You have a good mixture of students in the team. And accountability is also very important in TBL because the students should come to the class prepared. They don't simply come without doing their homework. They have to study beforehand for them to answer the questions and contribute to the discussion. Okay. And then the other principles is a timely feedback. After the students submit their answers, we'll have a feedback session, which is immediate. So if they have anything they are not sure of, we can give the feedback immediately. This feedback is very important because otherwise they don't know what they are learning, whether it is right or wrong. Okay. And another important thing is the assignment design. Okay. It's very important to design the application activities properly because it should be able to promote learning and team development. Okay, the design principles. The pre-reading materials by the student, it can be in the form of textbook, journal, clinical practice guideline, videos, lecture notes, yeah? And make sure that less is more. You shouldn't give too many materials that the student don't have the time to study, but you should choose the important ones. Not too much, but it is important for the students. Yeah? And for the IRAT, it is the individual readiness assurance test in the form of objective questions. Usually we give in the form of one best answer, multiple true false questions, or extended matching items. so that easy for you to mark, to get the marks immediately. Okay, it will be generated automatically. And for the team readiness assurance test, they take the same test, but in the team, and they must come into consensus on the team answers. So they have to be agreeable to their answer because they have to defend when there is disagreement in between the groups. Okay? And then the application activities, it should be something that is able to initiate their critical thinking and discussion. In individual readiness assurance test, it assesses the students' preparation because they have to answer on their own. And this will help them to grasp the core concepts and to get them engaged. And they have to be on time because the marks for the IRAT will be taken as their continuous assessment. So you don't have to worry about the students not coming to the class because they need to come for the test. And for the team readiness assurance test, it promotes students' preparation because they have to discuss in the group. So everyone must contribute to their team. So they work in team and they have critical thinking, and this will encourage effective participation of the students. Because the group is not so big, about 6 or 7 students, they have to be active in the discussion. And for the application activities, there are 4 principles, 4S principles. The problems that you prepared for discussion should be significant problems. Something that is relevant and significant for their practice. And we should avoid the gray area where you don't know whether this is right. There are a few options. So it should be something that is very specific. And it should be of same problem. If you have 10 groups, 10 teams, they will discuss on the same problems. And they should be able to challenge and defend their answers during the discussion. And it should also be a specific choice. So the team will make a clear and specific choice and able to defend their answers. And at the end of the session, you will have a simultaneous report. The team will report simultaneously in the lecture hall, and they will clarify confusion with the guide of the experts. So the content experts must be in the lecture hall at the time of discussion. Okay, the benefits of the application activities, it will assess the understanding of the students. It is more complex than the readiness assurance test because they need to discuss, and it is a problem solving with critical thinking. And they will be able to apply principles they learn in the team and clarify whatever things that they are uncertain. And this will encourage the students to seek for more information. Because for the application activities, they will be allowed to open book and look at the internet to solve the problem. And it will inculcate teamwork and leadership. And it improves their language skills and self-confidence because they have to talk in front of the class. There are numerous publications on TBL success, and most of the reports are showing that TBS is an effective teaching methodology, and it has some benefits more compared to the PBL, which is largely used worldwide. Okay, we did a small study after the pilot study of PBL implementation in Usim. So we got a very good feedback from the students. Most of them said they work more productively in the team. They are more serious in the team. It enhances their communication skill and it improves their self-confidence. This study is the subjects involve about 80 students. And teamwork enhance their understanding and their quiz marks improve with the discussion in the team. You can see a very good improvement from the individual test compared to the team test. And learning using online materials are as good as having face-to-face lectures. So if you look at this, our students, maybe because of the culture, not all are very happy with the online materials. They still want face-to-face lectures. So we still have a mixture of face-to-face and online learning materials. And surprisingly, most of the students prefer TBL compared to the usual tutorial session in which you have a small group discussion. They preferred TBL. Okay, so I was not hoping this good outcome, but Alhamdulillah, they like the TBL. Okay, so from the literature, these are the benefits of the TBL. Yeah? It give benefits to the student. They achieve a depth of understanding, and they develop teamwork skills, and it gives insight to the student, yeah? Their strength and their weakness. Because in the group, when they do the discussion, they can assess themselves. How good are they? Are they prepared or not? Yeah, for the class. So they have a good insight. And it also enables the weak students to complete and stay on track because they have their friends to encourage them, to help them to continue with the study. And there are also benefits to the faculty. It prompts students to engage in the class because they have to come to the class prepared. And you don't have to worry about the student attendance because they need to come because it is part of the continuous assessment. And these TBL are a very rewarding interaction because we have a lot of interaction with the students. So it's very rewarding as a teacher. And from the administrative perspective, there are also benefits because you need less facilitators. Because the team developed as an effective self-managed learning teams. So if you compare it with PBL, you need a number of facilitators. Each group will have one facilitator. But in TBL, in a large group, you only need one facilitator with a few content experts, which is involved in that subject. Yeah? So it helps the administrative to plan the number of the teaching staff, and it becomes cost effective because we need less people to handle the TBL. Okay, so the way forward in Usim, it has been implemented since 2016. Yeah? And initially, some of the lecturers are not very happy with TBL. Yeah, something new is always open for rejection. Yeah. So, however, gradually it is accepted by the lecturers and also the students. And we started the pilot study in the preclinical courses in 2016 to 2018. And now, currently, it is being used as teaching methodology in the preclinical as well as the clinical courses. And Alhamdulillah, I think the students are happy. The feedback are very good. Every year we got the feedback and they are very happy and they requested it to be continued. Yeah. And also from the faculty, the lecturers are also happy with the TBL because they have less burden in terms of being a facilitator. You can rotate. Yeah, every week you can rotate. So special thanks to the faculty and NUS for the sponsorship for the fellowship in TBL. During the training, we are also trained in a TBL manner. We were given the materials, study on your own, come for the training, you undergo the TBL process, and that's how we learn. So Alhamdulillah, it is very, I'm very happy with TBL, and inshallah we'll continue with the TBL. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for Professor Nur Fazila. Okay. Okay, we also have TBL in here in Unisula, but it's for a student who preparing final exit exam. But it's kind of different methods with Professor Nur Fazila explained before, but we will have a discussion later to discuss this kind of method. Okay. We're going to the fourth session today that will be talking about gene expression in cervical cancer, a systematic review and integrated bioinformatical analysis, brought to you by Associate Professor Dr. Nasifah Abdul Hamid. Okay, give applause to Professor Nasifah. Okay. Before we start, I will read the CV for the Professor Dr. Nasifah. Okay. Professor Dr. Nasifah graduated from University Putra, Malaysia with degree in biomedical science in 2002 and Master of Science in molecular biology in 2006 from the same university. She underwent a higher postgraduate training program in the University of Bristol, UK, and was awarded her PhD in biochemistry in 2010. He also went to postdoctoral training at the Faculty of Medicine, Hospital University Kebangsaan Malaysia in 2015 until 2016, and contribute immensely in the development of the MBBS, Master of Medical Science, and PhD curriculum in Usim. She was also appointed as Deputy Dean Research and Innovation at the Faculty of Medicine and Health Science Usim since 2019. And her research now focuses on molecular characterization and mechanism involved in the cervical cancer and other diseases. To my honor, Professor Nasifah Abdul, the time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Thank you to Unisula for accepting us, especially Dr. Putri. We have been communicating a lot, even at night time. I'm so sorry to disturb you even at night time. So thank you so much. So today I'm going to share with you what I've been doing for the past few years. And we are going to look at what are the expression of genes in cervical cancer, and also the systematic review and an integrated bioinformatical analysis. So cervical cancer, it has been reported as one of the top cancer worldwide. And even though there are vaccines, Savaric and Gardasil, which is being used for girls starting from the age of 11 to 26, we can still see the trend of the new cases. This is in Malaysia. It's the number 4 for the new cases reported in 2020 in Malaysia. And the mortality rate is one of the top 4 highest mortality rate for women in Malaysia as well. So even though we have the vaccine, however, this cervical cancers still poses some risk for females especially. So if cervical cancer, the main cause of cervical cancer is human papillomavirus. It's either HPV-16 or HPV-18, which is the high risk HPV. And we have a high risk and low risk HPV. Low risk normally just cause genital warts. Okay, it's benign normally. However, high risk will proceed and causes cervical cancer. So the risk for cervical cancer includes multiple sexual partners, smoking, oral contraceptives, and sexually transmitted diseases. So in this study, what we are going to do is we would like to have a look what is the differentially expressed genes, DEG, in cervical cancer, and we would like to look at the pattern of gene expression, the function, interactions, and the critical pathways via integrated bioinformatical analysis. So to do this, we use 4 databases, which is PubMed, ScienceDirect, Scopus, and EBSCOhost. We use the medical subject headings, which are uterine cervical neoplasm, or cervical intraepithelial neoplasia, or cervical cancer combined with gene expression. So for the inclusion criteria, we only include those using English language and those who only use a clinical sample, which is the cervical tissues, and those that include the gene expression using microarray, and those who are using next generation sequencing, we exclude that study. That is because we could not get the differential gene expressions from the NGS experiments. They did not give the supplementary data on the full list of gene expression. And also we include only those that measures the upregulated or downregulated genes. Yeah, we exclude all publication without primary data, for example, letter to editors, case reports, conference proceedings, and non-gene expression data. The clinical studies, which include any treatment, whether they are using natural products or they're using drugs. So we exclude all that. And also studies with in silico, in vitro, in vivo studies, we exclude all that because we want our studies to be really homogeneous and we can discuss the results really well. So if we include in silico, in vitro, in vivo, so our discussion would be quite broad. And also studies that uses other samples than cervical tissue, for example, blood and saliva, we also exclude that study. Okay, so the results here. So there are 4,027 data that we got from that 4 databases. So after we remove the duplicates, there are 3,720 records. And we assess the eligibility of all records. And at the end, only 5 studies were included. Are the studies that were included, and we have the list of the author. So we need to extract this from the paper. So we have the upregulated genes, we have the downregulated genes, and if we look at this paper used in 2007, they just reported both upregulated and downregulated genes altogether. And these are the other 3 studies that reported on the gene expression, upregulated and also downregulated genes. So what we do with all this data, so we extract all the differentially expressed genes, and then we look on the Venn diagram. So this is the Venn diagram. So we want to see what are the common DEGs among all these studies. So then here we can see that there are 2 differentially expressed genes shared by 4 studies with Idgius, Annapurna, Wong, and Rajkumar. So this Venn diagram shows us the commonly shared DEG. Yeah? So these 2 genes are shared by 4 studies. So then we extract from the Venn diagram, we list out all the genes. And here we can see the genes reported by Annapurna, Gius, and Rajkumar and Wong. It's CDH3 and CDKN2A. So we listed all the overlap genes from the Venn diagram just now. So next we have the overlap genes. And now we want to look at the protein-protein interactions. We want to see now is it being translated to the protein? So we want to look also at the interactions of these proteins. Are they closely interacted, or they does not really interact with each other? So we can see 3 big clusters here, and the biggest here is the cluster 1. So we use 2 software here. We use Cytoscape and String software to get this cluster. So this is the first cluster. You can see that there are many genes here which interact with each other. And this is the second cluster, the blue one. The third cluster, and here is the unclustered, meaning that they did not interact with each other, but they interact with cluster 1, cluster 2, and cluster 3. And the line here shows the interaction. So it's not necessarily cluster 1 interacts only with cluster 1. So they did interact with other clusters as well. Okay, so from these clusters, we ran the data using KAGG pathway. We want to look at the gene ontology. We want to know what are the pathways that is involved, okay, from cluster 1, 2, and 3. So cluster 1, they are involved mainly in cell cycle pathway, specifically in ATP binding, single-strand DNA binding, transcription factor binding. While cluster 2, it's more on the cell signaling. Okay? And cluster 3 is on the cell differentiation. So we can see that is why we can see 3 big clusters just now. And we reported these 8 genes, which are the most significant genes that we can get from these clusters. Okay? So as a discussion, these 8 genes were chosen as the candidate genes because of their involvement in the relevant gene ontology, and they give us the most significant results. And also their interactions with other genes in the network. Okay? And these genes has been identified as the key genes that regulate the cervical cancer pathogenesis and progression. So as a conclusion, these DEGs are reported to regulate cervical cancer pathogenesis and progression, and it has the potential to be used as diagnostic and prognostic markers in personalized medicine in cervical cancer. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Nazifa Abdul, for the presentation about the cervical cancer and the gene expression. Okay, coming to our last 2 sessions, which will be presented by hosting University Unisula. The 5th session will be listening a very insightful topic about the future of stem cell, brought to you by our experts in stem cell, Associate Professor Dr. Agung Putra, Master of Science Medical. He is the head of Stem Cell and Cancer Research Laboratory and head of Department Postgraduate Program, Master in Biomedical Science. Professor Agung will be present online from the Zoom meeting.
Sorry. Thank you. Exactly. This is clear, my paper. Hello? Sorry, is it clear? Moderator.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, it's
This clear?
Yeah, it's clear, Professor.
Okay, okay. Thank you for the time. I'm Agung Putra, as as head of the graduate biomedical science department of Unisula, Medical Faculty of Unisula. Sorry, something wrong with my body. I got a cold, so that's why I should present by online. Okay, this is my activity. Yeah, I'm as a researcher in stem cell. That's it. Okay, we trying with the introductions. What should we do with this disease? You know, this is the common disease. No. So sorry. This is a pure organ damage. We call this is a stroke disease. And the others about the myocardial infarct, it is known as coronary and serous hepatitis. And the others about the incurable disease, autoimmune disease. You know, autoimmune disease is the auto-reactive immune system protects our immune our immune cell. So the problem is the conventional medicine is using organ transplantation to repair. You know, look at this. This is the dead tissues. So I think there is no science, there is no drug to repair, to restore these dead tissues, right? So the conventional medicine is using organ transplantation, of course, but the problem we have no donor from the brain, the normal brain, right? So organ transplantation approach to treat diseases, this is our problem. Yeah, of course, in myocardial infarct, serous hepatitis, and organ and osteoarthritis, of course. You know, we got problem with this, the level of the organ of the bones cartilaginous damage, the level 3. You know, look at this, cartilaginous damage, destruction of artery and it's yeah. So That's why, sorry, so say we need for scientific therapeutic, we have to look for the innovative therapeutic, alternative therapeutic, but basically science, of course. The area target of stem cell, of course, we can divide into 6, yeah, at least 6 department: neurologist, stroke, Parkinson, Alzheimer, Huntington disease, surgery department, fracture. This is most cases in, yeah, and burn disease, report tendons, spinal cords, internal disease, yeah, renal failure. We got animal model renal failure, and we applied mesenchymal stem cell, and this improved creatinine urea as a marker of renal function decrease after application of mesenchymal stem cell. So you can search renal failure, mesenchymal stem cell, agung putih is my name. Diabetic, of course, we try to make animal model and type 1 and type 2 animal model. Type 1 basically autoimmune disease. Type 2 is basically insulin resistant. We will discuss more details about the diabetic type 2. Why? Because in conjunction of this lecture, our speakers, Dr. Anna as a neurologist, as diabetic mellitus expert clinicals, can explore about how to treat diabetic. That's why in this case of diabetic, we are to explore more details about it. Peripheral vascular disease, all-cause diabetic, this is a problem. And most of the patient with this all-cause diabetic, the end, at least amputation, like something like that. And the dermatologist, aging, cosmetic, and we have concentrate biomedical science and master biomedical science. One of the concentrate is about dermatologist science. Ophthalmologist, of course, retinopathy diabetes. Problem is about vision. This is mesenchymal stem cell as well. Immune disorder. Now, this is very, very important because we got the endemic SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, autoimmune disease. We have published, we have treat to control cytokine storm due to by COVID-19 cytokine storm, and then we publish and we discuss after this, CPR, COVID-19, sepsis, of course, and AIDS, thing like this. Okay, as I was discussed before, this is obesity. Obesity is a problem about the overnutrition. We can divide into three parts. The one's about overnutrition, the high diet of lipid, right? And then this is clear. I think clear mechanism. Sedentary lifestyle, and now I think we got problem with this. We almost have no or low activity. We stay in laptop and type anything. So that is no activity until 2 or maybe until 5 hours. This is we call sedentary lifestyle. And the other support genetic responsibility. What is the problem of this? The problem of this support adipose tissue extension. Adipose tissue extension because this adipose tissues, the adipose cell, try to extend their population due to overnutrition, sedentary, etc. On the other side, our body try to make hyperthyroidism to compensate the high attention, right? So the extensive lipogenesis, of course, at the point at this some for I think 2 or 3 years later, maybe there's imbalance. What is imbalance? There's imbalance adipose tissue extension, but inadequate neurovascularization. This problem. So the body try to compensate the vascularization to express shock induced factor. Yeah, shock induced factor. Actually, this truncation factor try to compensate vascularization. But in this case, there is crosstalk with this NF-kappa B. NF-kappa B, nuclear factor of TB, is one of the biggest, the famous inflammation pathway. Yeah, so what does mean in this case? This is localized adipose tissue inflammation. That's the problem, localized. At the moment, only localized adipose tissue inflammation. In this localized tissue inflammation, leading to adipose profile alteration too. Adipose profile alteration, we can manifest with the profile inflammatory phenotype. What the problem? What's going on with the pro-inflammatory phenotype? One of the cytokine pro-inflammatory phenotype is about TNF alpha. Look at this. TNF alpha. Look at this. Then look at this. Look to GLUT4. GLUT4 is a receptor for glucose. What does mean? That means glucose cannot get in diet, and then glucose outside over and over. That's the one problem. And the second is about the localized tissues adipose inflammation. Release CXCL2. CXCL2 is chemokine, to attract monocyte. Monocyte attract, and then most massive monocyte getting this adipose localized and polarize the activate macrophage. You know, in our body, we have two macrophage. One macrophage type 1 is we call pro-inflammatory cytokine profile. On the second macrophage type 2 is anti-inflammatory profile. In this case, there are any proportion. So our body, the component of macrophage in this case is macrophage type 1. What the problem is with macrophage problem type 1? Problem is about they activate NF-kappa B. You know this NF-kappa B. Of course, they are associated with this oxide is free radical reactive oxygen species. Reactive oxygen species to attenuate, to increase, to set up, to maintenance the inflammation process ecosystem, right? So in this case, NF-kappa B activate to impair Down syndrome insulin signaling. This is the problem. When impaired downstream insulin signaling, the problem is about we don't have the major insulin or functional insulin. So we say insulin resistant. But in the early stage, our body, our pancreas try to expand, beta pancreas expand to compensate the insulin, to produce insulin over and over to compensate the insulin, the minimal insulin. So maybe for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, we don't have anything. Sometimes our friends say there's no problem with you, but until 5 letters, when the damage, look at this, the late stage, loss of beta pancreas does mean damage, the compensation mechanism failure, yeah, compensating mechanism failure, decomposition we call, and this is hyperglycemia, then we call this diabetes type 2. So what the problem with this case? The problem is about the one is the prolonged inflammation, right? And the second is about the damage, the injuries of the beta pancreas. That's two problems. So our body, our mindset to control inflammation and then to repair, to regenerate beta pancreas. That is okay. So yeah, this is cell potency. Maybe we will discuss later. This is embryonic stem cell, pluripotent. This is all this embryonic. In our laboratory, we use this adult stem cell or mesenchymal stem cell, mesenchymal stem cell from umbilical cord, the baby. The cell potency ability of the cell to differentiate. To differentiate for what? Differentiate into mature cell, into the other cell. In the stem cell, get this? Yeah, in the stem cell, they differentiate the first. This is the two hallmark. Yeah. The hallmark of the stem cell is one is differentiate into their cell. Look at this. This is mothers, and then differentiate into their mothers. The same characters, and we done what is in laboratory. And in the patient or animal model, of course, we should differentiate this mesenchymal stem cell into the specific tissues. When the problem in the myocard infarct maybe, yeah, of course, the muscle heart maybe, or the brain maybe, this is neuron, or maybe muscle in the muscle, or yeah, etc., etc. So we can divide on this. We differentiate into their cell we call subungual, and differentiate into specific tissues we call specific differentiation. So the most promising feature of medicine, stem cell is not only one. The most promising feature in and medical biomedical arsenal. Why? It's one of the most promising. Why? Because of potential source for the regenerative medicine. This is the first. This is the old consensus science. Yeah, the stem cell have ability to regenerate damaged tissue, etc. But the newest knowledge is about immunoregulation. This is the interesting, the most interesting for in COVID-19. Of course, this problem is immune system. Stem cell have immunoregulation to control immune disorder. So to repair and damage tissues and exercise. Homing mechanism. Why? Look at this. We try to apply the stem cell in from tail, yeah, from tail fin, yeah, and then look at this, the stem cell homing to the myocard, and on the other side, of course, we apply directly in myocard. The problem, what is the mechanism? Why the stem cell knows this is injury tissues? How stem cell knows about it? Because of stem cell have receptor injury. Yeah, look at this. Stem cell have receptor injury we call CXCR3 that can recognize stromal growth factor as signal injury. And then they have TNF-RR that recognize inflammation, TNF-alpha, etc. That's why stem cell know exactly what is where the damaged tissues and body. Of course, when we applied stem cell by infusion, stem cell traveling our body, then they know because the receptor can try to look for and searching and recognizing. And then the amazing process is stem cell working mesenchymal cell like leukocyte. Look at this leukocyte. They can binding with the P-selectin. P-selectin is addition molecule, and the same like leukocytes mechanism. And then they're rolling, and then they try amyloid mechanism and move from inside to the injury area. And then after this, mesenchymal cell differentiate into specific tissues, and The others, what is specific mechanism is a paracrine effect. This is important, paracrine effect. This paper, this picture says about how stem cell to control. Look at this, micropis M2, stem cell induced. But other sides, for the macropis type 1 stem cell to suppress. So they have to mechanism on the other, to process the mechanism. And then look at this T lymphocyte, for the T regulator. T regulator is cell immune regulator to control the autoreactive T cell or not B cell. Yeah, maybe you know this information like the police, like Kadipropam, Sambo. This is the same with the Sambo, the news, the news, this is just kidding, okay. And for the other set, this the T cell like subtype type 1 and type 17. 17 is the fighter inflammation cell, mesenchymal control it. And then the other side, look at this, stem cell can try to angiogenesis, angiogenesis, and then to produce antioxidant activity to control reactive oxygen species, and then to produce VGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, and VGF, platelet growth factor to increase neovascularization. Okay. Okay, and sorry, and this is antimicrobial activity. This is how to mesenchymal control mechanism controlling cytokine storm. This is our paper. You can search in Google, and we publish in Scopus T1, right? Using this mechanism controlling an ectapabi. This is papers, serial cases, the first review, blah 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 blah. I think the last years, and then we report to clinical trial government in US to right. How the mechanism mesenchymal to control to regenerated cardiac regeneration. Sorry, till 5 minutes. Okay, okay. I think try to focus with it. Okay, this is paracrine mechanism, right? Okay, report. Sorry, this is the one mechanism. Trans differentiation, second cell diffusion, dedicated diffusion, and then paracrine mechanism. Neurogeneration, of course, how to mesenchymal stem cell to maintain and to produce myelinization. This is myelinization, so the signal transduction can be normal. This is axon reorganization. This is myelinization. Maybe we can discuss later. Of course, this is how to mechanism regeneration. The first we can divide into third mechanism. The first inflammation, the stem cell to control inflammation and so accelerated because of under control inflammation. So the process can accelerate it for represent state. So the patient, the remodeling state and patient more better. And then this is how to control the fibrosis. Fibrosis, because the problem, the process is associated. They're associated between a neutrophil and cytokine. We can discuss later. Some cell can control this. But this is secretome. Look at this. Secretome is stem cell can produce we can divide into two parts. One is a soluble molecule. Soluble molecule we call consists of cytokines, cytokine, growth factor, and etc. And the others about the biggest size of the product because we call extravesical or we call exosome. So this is one of mechanisms because the contents of the MIRNA microRNA that's very important to control to regenerative disease. This is secretome profile. Look at this. This is the real fact that's in our laboratory. And then this is, maybe you can discuss later. And then this is published, yeah, other information. So platform to control. All these papers says about increase or improve only that, yeah. Yeah, biology masih berubah, and we can decide later until renal failure to diabetic and etc. At the end, this is stem cell can have control immunomodulator too, so we can research immunomodulator, and I try to myself. This is our analysis laboratory using yes and model flow cytometry, etc., using blood, etc. We can decide later. Thank you. Conclusion again, this is what to say, certificate intellectual property right. We got it two, right? One is about how to optimize stem cell to time to increase their activity, the stimulus activity, the differentiation activity, and the second is about secretome. Yeah, thank you. Okay, tadi finish. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah.
Give applause for Professor Agung. Yeah, that's a very interesting topic about cell and its application around the clinical models. Okay, going into the last session, we will covering about the type 2 diabetes mellitus entitled Achieving Glycemic Control Safely in Type 2 DM by Dr. Nur Ana C. Sadiah, internal medicine specialist, consultant of metabolic and endocrine disease. Okay, give applause to Dr. Ana. Dr. Nur Ana is an internal medicine specialist in Sultan Agung Islamic Hospital, and she also a lecturer in Unisula. Dr. Nur Ana, the time is yours.
wabarakatuh. Thank you for the opportunities to my presentation. Now I will present with the title of Achieving Glycemic Control Safely in Type 2 DM. In my agenda, number one is what is the burden diabetes today and the future, and why and how should glycemic control be the number one priority in the treatment diabetes? What are the pharmacological treatment of hyperglycemia in adults with type 2 DM and summary? Number one, what is the burden of diabetes today and the future? Yes, and here we can see in the picture that we find the large and growing global burden of diabetes. 1 in 11 adults have diabetes in the future, and 1 in 2 adults with diabetes are undiagnosed, and 38 million more adults with diabetes than in 2017. In the world, we can know that the growing of the diabetes is very high. There is a 41% increase. The diabetic burden that can impact and strong global economic, that in here over 3 in 4 people with diabetes live in low and middle income country. And here we know that the annually we know that the total diabetes related health expenditure for adults with diabetes. Yes, a key feature on diabetes complication. We know that diabetes is a major cause of blindness, kidney failure, heart attack, stroke, and lower limb amputation. Early diagnosis and timely treatment of diabetic retinopathy can prevent sight impairment and blindness. Diabetes, hypertension, or a combination of both cause 80% of end-stage renal disease globally. Type 2 diabetes is associated with serious complication. And here we know that the complication and microvascular complication and macrovascular complication, like in the neuropathy diabetic, diabetic nephropathy, and diabetic retinopathy. And the macrovascular complication are stroke and cardiovascular disease. Global prevalence of diabetes kidney disease, approximately 40% of all adults with type 2 DM have with diabetes kidney disease globally, and 31.6% have signs of chronic kidney disease before diagnosis of diabetes mellitus. In Indonesia, increasing diabetes prevalence rate in Indonesia is increased. Female more than males. And the risk status survey, we know that the increase of prevalence of diabetes is more than 8.5%. Where and how should glycemic control be the number one priority and treatment of diabetes? A1C reduction related with less complication. In this picture, we know that the decrease of A1C 1% can impact to all of the complication. And here in the macrovascular and microvascular complication, like the microvascular complication, kidney and retinopathy can decrease, and amputation or fatal peripheral blood vessel disease and diabetes mortality, heart attack and stroke. What are the pharmacological treatment of hyperglycemia in adult with type 2 DM? In here, I will try to explain the international guideline from the ADA and national guideline for the PERCANI. This is a similar that the guideline to reach the glycemic control in patient type 2 DM as need a guideline that the treatment that can the monotherapy, dual therapy and triple therapy. Initial management of hyperglycemia in adult with type 2 DM, we know that the target glycated hemoglobin or A1C level in patient with type 2 DM should be tailored to the individual, balancing the anticipated reduction in microvascular complication over time with immediate risk of hypoglycemia and other adverse effects of therapy. A reasonable goal of therapy is an A1C value of low than 7% for most patients. Glycemic targets are generally set somewhat higher for older adult patients and those with comorbidities or a limited life expectancy who may have little likelihood of benefit from intensive therapy. According to the ADA guideline, in here, international guideline, we know that first-line therapy depends on comorbidities, patient-centered treatment, and management need and generally include metformin and comprehensive lifestyle modification. Other medication, glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist, sodium glucose co-transporter 2 inhibitor or SGLT2, with or without metformin based on glycemic need, are appropriate initial therapy for individuals with type 2 diabetes with or at high risk for atherosclerosis, cardiovascular disease, heart failure, and chronic kidney disease. Metformin should be continued upon initiation of insulin therapy unless contraindication are not tolerated for ongoing glycemic and metabolic benefit. Early combination and therapy can be considered in some patients at treatment initiation to extend the time treatment failure. The principal side effects of metformin are gastrointestinal intolerance due to bloating, abdominal discomfort, and diarrhea. This can be mitigated by gradual dose titration. The drug is cleared by renal filtration and very high circulation level have been associated with lactic acidosis. However, the occurrence of this complication is now known to be very rare, and metformin may be safely used in patients with reduction estimate glomerular filtration rate. The FDA has revised the label of metformin to reflect its safety in patients with GFR more than 30%. Among individuals with type 2 diabetes who establish with atherosclerosis, cardiovascular disease, or indication high risk cardiovascular risk, established kidney disease or heart failure, a sodium glucose co-transporter or SGLT2 like peptide receptor agonist inhibitor or glucagon like peptide 1 receptor agonist will demonstrate cardiovascular disease benefit. In patients with contraindication or intolerance with metformin, initial therapy should be based on patient factor. Consider a drug from another class. When A1C more than normal or not reach the target, we can combine with another drugs. For patients without established ASCVD indicator and or high ASCVD risk, heart failure or CKD, the choice of second agent to add them to metformin is not yet guided by empiric evidence comparing across multiple classes. Rather, drug choice is based on efficacy, avoided onset effect, particularly of hypoglycemia and weight gain, and cost and patient preference. Cardiovascular risk factor management. In addition to glycemic management, vigorous cardiac risk reduction like smoking cessation, blood pressure control, reduction in serum lipid with a statin, diet, exercise, and weight loss or maintenance, and aspirin for those with established atherosclerosis cardiovascular disease, or after shared decision making should be a top priority for all patients with type 2 DM. However, in spite of evidence that aggressive multifactor risk reduction lower the risk of both microvascular and macrovascular complication in patients with diabetes. For patients in whom ASCVD predominant, particularly in the setting of higher A1C or motivation to lose weight, we typically prescribe liraglutide, subcutaneous semaglutide, or dulaglutide as the GLP-1 receptor agonist. SGLT2 inhibitor with cardiovascular benefit, empagliflozin or canagliflozin are good alternatives, especially in the presence of heart failure. Given the high cost of this classes of medication, formally coverage often determined the choice of the first medication with the class. For patients who have heart failure or chronic kidney disease with the albuminuria, we know that the GFR is lower than 60 and but still more than 20. Predominant we prescribe a low dose of SGLT2 inhibitor like empagliflozin, canagliflozin, and dapagliflozin. For patients with a choice of agent is primarily dictated by provider preference, insurance formulary restriction, AGFR, and cost. In the setting decline in AGFR, the main reason the prescribed SGLT2 inhibitor is to reduce progression of chronic kidney disease or diabetes kidney disease. For the treatment of hyperglycemia, SGLT2 inhibitors are not recommended for initiation with patients and with GFR very low, with some difference in its medication depending on the labeling. However, kidney and cardiac benefit have been shown in the patient with AGFR below this threshold. Dosing in the setting of diabetes kidney disease is reviewed in detail elsewhere. We thought establish cardiovascular or kidney disease with cost concern. Sulfonylurea are reasonable second agent because they are inexpensive, effective, and universally available and have long-term track record, including demonstrate of the reduce of microvascular complications. These benefits are offset by risk of hypoglycemia and modest weight gain. Sulfonylurea can be used safely and effectively with dose adjustment even in people at risk of hypoglycemia, but this requires a bit more attention. We prefer a shorter duration sulfonylurea, like glipizide, or we can use a glipizide as the sulfonylurea, the shorter duration, with relative lower risk of hypoglycemia. Yes, glimepiride is the short, long-acting sulfonylurea that can make the hypoglycemia. And the other is risk of hypoglycemia. In here, a patient whom avoid of any hypoglycemia is desirable GLP-1 receptor agonist, SGLT2 inhibitor, or much less commonly pioglitazone or option they are associated with low hypoglycemic risk. For patients with weight concern, when weight loss is a priority, medication that promote weight loss, such as GLP-1 RA or SGLT2 inhibitor, or medication that are weight neutral, such as DPP-4 inhibitor, may be selected as second agent. SGLT2 inhibitor are associated with modest weight loss, with both modification class weight loss effect are stronger when the medication is combined with sustained effort of dietary medication. In patients with NAS or non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, pioglitazone can improve fibrosis, inflammation, and steatosis. In patients with diabetes mellitus and biopsy-proven NAS, pioglitazone has been shown to improve fibrosis as well as inflammation and steatosis. Although less well-studied liraglutide appears to improve liver biopsy evidence of NAS, inhibitors are also under investigation. Insulin initiation and intensification need, if a decision have been to add insulin to oral hypoglycemic therapy in patients with type 2 diabetes. A single daily dose or either insulin and pH or detamers give at bedtime and or insulin glargine or degludec given in the morning or at bedtime is a reasonable initial regimen. Metformin, GLP-1 receptor agonist, DPP-4 inhibitor, and SGLT2 inhibitor can be continued when insulin is added, whereas sulfonylurea and pioglitazone are usually discontinued due to reduced efficacy in comparison with other combination and adverse effect. In this picture, we know the national guideline for Perkeni and Indonesian national guideline. We know we need a modifikasi gaya hidup and the target is similar as lower than 7%. And the treatment according to the A1C level. This is a Indonesian guideline similar with ADA according to A1C level, and we can start with monotherapy if the patient have the lower 7.5% of A1C, and we can add the dual therapy and triple therapy with insulin if patient with higher of A1C. Drug of choice in the Indonesian guideline is depend on the comorbidity too. It's okay. This is my last slide with the summary. My summary in this presentation. Number one is the proportion of patient with type 2 DM will increase by 51% in the next 20 years with an economic burden. Glycemic control, the top priority against diabetes and its complication. Goal of therapy is an A1C value of the lower than 7%. First-line therapy depend on comorbidities, patient-centered treatment factors, and management needs, and generally include metformin and comprehensive lifestyle modification. Individuals with type 2 DM who have established atherosclerosis cardiovascular disease or indicator of high cardiovascular risk, established kidney disease or heart failure. GLP-1 agonist, receptor agonist, or an SGLT2 inhibitor with demonstrate cardiovascular disease benefit. Hypoglycemia and weight gain are the factors that needs consider to adjusting. This is all finished. I finished my presentation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Anna, for the presentation. After this, we will going into the question and answer session. I would like to invite all of the speakers to sit in the front. Please, Professor Muhammad Asmani Azhar, Professor Juliana Nurdin, Professor Nur Fazila, Professor Nazefa, and Dr. Nur Anna to sit in the front. Okay. I would like to see in the Zoom meeting, is there any question? Okay. I think in the Zoom there is no question. First of all, I would like to from in this room. Okay. From Usim. Okay. Please. Okay, the first question.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to all speakers. I would like to ask Dr. Anna, the internal medicine. Usually in my line of work, I usually encounter intermittently patients who have a poor control diabetes, with raised HbA1c, but then when they come to us with acute onset of Bell's palsy, and usually they need to be treated with steroids. So perhaps you can enlighten us, how do you manage such cases? That's one. Can I ask also to Prof. Agung?
Okay, from Prof. Agung, I think I will I'll write down the question and answer it in the email or something, because Professor Agung, the condition is not fit enough to present in the Zoom.
It's just my thought about he had done a lot of stem cell research in many areas, and I'm just wondering whether he has experience with anything related to otorhinolaryngology, for example, stem cell research in terms of auricle regeneration or hearing regeneration of the hair cells. just things like that, just to get the point of views.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we will going into the Zoom, and we will answer the question directly after that. There is one participant who would ask from Zoom meeting. The name is Dr. Harry from Usim also. Please, Dr. Harry, you can open your mic and answer, asking question via Zoom, please. Harry? Please, Dr. Harry, you can okay. Wait a minute. Okay, while the IT department prepare the Zoom, I think Dr. Anna can answer the first question regarding the condition, Bell's palsy, and then the steroid treatment, and how do you manage the type 2 DM? Okay,
Yes,
please.
thank you. Thank you, Prof. Khairullah, for your question. Yes, it is a very usual. Treatment patient that indicate to steroid treatment and intravena or oral or topical. But in the Bell palsy, the patient need to steroid, but the patient is uncontrolled for diabetes. We use insulin for normally of glucose, but intensive insulin, the IV or subcutaneous. In here, steroid just in the not contraindication absolute. This is a relative contraindication. We can use combine in the steroid with insulin in the time, but we can control the frequent condition with the SMBG, self-monitoring blood glucose, if patient in the outpatient. But as patient in inpatient, we regularly to check for the glucose because steroid can make the increase of glucose level. Number one, and the second, we must carefully if patient need steroid, because steroid can induce in not in patient in diabetes, not diabetes, can induce diabetes type other type. Yeah, that insulin not steroid can induce diabetes other types. This is very carefully with we use steroid, because steroid must use or inject or can give in patient and prescribing in the dose and the normal dose, not a higher dose. In higher dose, we must frequent to check the blood glucose too, because they can induce the another type of diabetes. Enough or another question? Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anna. Okay, going into the Zoom, Dr. Harry, you can open the mic or unmute the mic.
Yes, I can hear myself. Yes.
We can hear you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sebangsa ya daripada seberang lautan. Thank you to give me the opportunity to ask the question. My question to the last presenter regarding the hyperglycemia control. So at your slide, you mentioned about the incidence of diabetes mellitus in Indonesia is high in women compared to the male. So any opinion why that is happen is incidence of the diabetes mellitus is higher in female compared to the male? That is my one question, the first question. The second question to same presenter also, any experience in Indonesia or even you yourself using the glucagon-like peptide, or we are here using the semaglutide combined with the metformin in treatment of type 2 diabetes mellitus, especially is if the HbA1c is very bad or fasting blood sugar is uncontrolled. So that is my question. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Harry. Maybe Dr. Anna can answer directly. The first is why
From Malaysia?
From Malaysia, from Usim.
From Malaysia, thank you. All questions for me.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Harry, for your question. Okay, in here, where female and male in the low level is female.
Why in the women they have higher
Okay.
diabetes
Okay,
than the
because female will have the many high risk for diabetes like the Ista ovarii, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and female have the diabetes gestational, and the female have the contraception like this. This is induced to make diabetes, I think. And female that can born the giant baby for more than 4 kilogram. This is a high risk for patient to in the future can make the type 2DM. On pregnant condition, this is can the trigger in the future can the progress in type 2DM. Number 2, in semaglutide and metformin.
Yes, the combination. Yeah.
Yes, semaglutide is the GLP-1 RA. This is a new one of the GLP-1 RA. Semaglutide is a GLP-1 RA, very long acting. That can just inject 1 weekly. Semaglutide is very new one, and we can combine with metformin. It's no problem, I think, because the work of the target of the semaglutide is different with metformin. Metformin is work in gluconeogenesis and insulin sensitizer, and the semaglutide as GLP-1 RA have more board for the target like the reverse or the pancreas, and can increase of the incretin mimetic incretin that can revise the insulin with the obesity, central obesity, like the sensitivity insulin can increase with semaglutide. But I think as semaglutide as metformin is combined is a very rational condition, and we can give semaglutide in the first time by patient in the lower than 7% of the A1C, and semaglutide 2 can give in the more than 7, and we can combine with metformin. This is, I think, is the rational combination, and we can promote we can to metabolic condition can very good like this like the hypertension can to weight loss. The semaglutide is the weight loss can good of the visceral obesity, and the metformin can help the semaglutide to synergism and work in the insulin sensitizer. I think it's very rational.
Okay, thank you. For the answer, I think it's clear enough why the diabetes is higher in women in Indonesia, and the how semaglutide combined with metformin in clinical situation. Okay, thank you. Is there any two question? Okay, Dr. Silorini, committee.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Susilorini. I'm from Department of Pathology of Anatomy. I want to ask to Dr. Nadifa. It's very interesting topic for me, and I remember to what Rasulullah taught us about when we must eat, and Rasulullah SAW said that we must eat when we hungry and stop before we are full. And I assume scientifically it's totally right that I agree with that. And in my opinion, what Rasulullah said is related to the leptin hormone secretion time. And as I know, leptin hormone is periodically secreted only 2 times in the peak secretion in evening and also in early morning. Isn't right? your opinion? Thank you.
Okay, I think the question is for the Professor Juliana Nurdin. Yeah, about the chrononutrition. Okay, right. Okay, it's maybe Professor Juliana Nurdin can answer directly.
Thank you so much. So, Alhamdulillah, in Islam, the teaching in Islam is not again in any scientific findings that have been found until up to today. For example, that's why because of the process that we are saying about eating when we are hungry and when to stop. That's why it comes to into study on mindful eating, because correct on leptin circulation, and besides that, our serotonin will stimulate our brain to tell when we are full, and there's a delay of telling the brain that when we are full. It's a 20 minutes delay. So you see, after 20 minutes, then we realize we are overeating. So if that's why we promote on mindful eating, we have to have the taste, sensation, whatever, all the senses at our tongue. We have to really feel it. Okay, the taste is sweet, and everything will help to assure that the signal to the brain telling us when we are full is at the right time. And also in Islam, we are told to eat, not to eat with, we have to chew the food until it is really many times that you have to chew it, isn't it? So this will also stimulate to assure that the brain is stimulated at the right time to tell us that we are full. So how many of us here have experienced that we are eating at when we are so hungry, we eat too fast, then suddenly after few minutes we realize that, oh my goodness, I have to open the zipper bit. Right, because we are too full. That's why Rasulullah has teach us way beyond. We have got all these studies.
If we are followed like the Rasulullah said, it will improve our BMI, like your in the your research say something like that, or is it good to improve the BMI by following the Rasulullah say?
Yes, definitely. I would say if we follow strictly what Islamic teachings, for example, we already have this. We don't have to follow intermittent fasting. Instead, we have this Monday and Thursday fasting as well. So there's a study from our team members as well on her PhD. She did on this kind of fasting, which on men, elderly men, we showed that better results on their problem of endocrine problems.
Thank you. That's a great answer. Is there anyone who want to ask? Okay, Dr. Minidian, please the committee, you can give the microphone. Okay, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Aminah from Nutrition Department. Thank you all speaker for the valuable presentation. Especially I would ask to Professor Nursham Juliana Nurdin, because I'm also from nutrition field. It is interesting that you study about eating habits in young adult. I'm curious, in addition to the eating habits, did you also investigate the influence of sleeping habits for the outcome in nutritional status for them? And the second question, did you also investigate more detail in, for example, macro or micronutrients, especially in calorie intakes, the whole calorie intakes maybe, or the composition of the diet? Thank you, Prof.
Okay, there is two questions regarding the first is about the sleeping habit, and the second one is the macronutrition, like the calorie input and output. Okay, please, Dr. Professor Juliana Nurdin.
Thank you so much. It's good to have someone in the same field together in this seminar. So I would say that on sleeping habits, yes, we did this for to do in the CPQ itself. We have to get their sleep part of their sleeping habits. But we have another study on chronotype on the same not the same subject, same group of age. Together with we did a chronotype study on male and female on sleeping habits as well to differentiate to differentiate whether they are categorized as morningness, eveningness, or intermediate person. So we did that study. For this particular study, we don't take their micronutrients for this particular study, but we have another study which is for our PhD students, which complete everything, the macronutrients together with the chrononutrients. Because for CPQ alone, it will concern more on the when the intake is, and it self-perceive of when is this largest meal based on we give the instruction on what do we mean by the largest meal to the subjects, and they will determine which is the time that they've taken the largest meal. But the nutrients, the calories, we didn't take for this particular study, but another study that we are doing at the moment, we are taking robust data on that. Inshallah, we'll be sharing this also.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Juliana Nurdin, for the sharing and the answer. Okay, unfortunately, that is the final question for today. I would like to express my gratitude and my thank you for all the speakers that present great material today, and I would like to please give a applause for all of the speakers today. Okay, I think that's all about the mini seminar today. I would like to give back my time to the host.
Terima kasih kepada para narasumber mini seminar yang telah memberikan insight baru kepada kita semua. Serta terima kasih pula kepada moderator yang telah memandu acara mini seminar dan juga diskusi. Untuk acara selanjutnya adalah ramah tamah. Kami mengundang 2 international students yang sedang menjalani clinical placement di Fakultas Kedokteran Unisula. Kedua mahasiswa ini telah berada di Fakultas Kedokteran Unisula sejak tanggal 13 November 2022. Mari kita dengarkan reflective feedback secara singkat yang akan disampaikan oleh Muhammad Nakib Afifuddin bin Nur Al-Kose dan Muhammad Alif Hazik bin Nur Zari.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Alif Haziq and he is Muhammad Nakib bin Afifuddin. So first of all, I would like to thank the Dean of Faculty of Medicine in Unisula and Dean of Faculty of Medicine in Usim and fellow lecturers and fellow friends. So today I would like to share our reflective writing on elective posting here in Unisula up to today, which is 30th November 2022. So this is basically the overview of what we did here in Unisula, which is we are divided into four stasa in here, or in Malaysia we call it as posting, which is interna, bedah, IKM and anesthesia, which is medical, surgical. IKM is what, community medicine or community health, and then anesthesia is anesthesia, which is we haven't yet gone through. We will be starting the anesthesia for tomorrow, and then basically in this posting we will be placed in 4 different places, which is Bangsal, which is Indonesian word of for ward, clinic, IGD or emergency department. In Indonesia is called as instalasi gawat darurat, and then EBS, which is instalasi bedah sentral or operating theater, operating room. So here our according to our date, So for clinical posting in Unisula, our clinical students are usually called as co-as or co-assistant, which is only done for 1.5 years in here Unisula, and they are doing activities similar to medical student in Malaysia too. However, there are more involvement in the clinical skill because in here in Unisula, which is a private hospital and the teaching hospital, there are no housemanship as what our hospital, which is Hospital Ampang, Hospital Temelo. They have no housemanship and very little amount of medical officer here, which are usually placed in the emergency department. So we get to have more chances of assisting in procedure, especially that we have found very different is in the operating room, operating theater. So the posting here are also similar, which they have also medical and surgical and all. But however, there is a bit of different, which is they have the posting of neurology, which is Sarah, and specific radiology posting, which is in Malaysia, these are usually combined. For the radiology, it is usually combined to every posting, which is radiology for pediatric, radiology for medical, and every part of it. And then, however, they do not have a specific orthopedic posting like us, which they combine it with the surgical, which is they also have to go for orthopedic surgery and the normal general surgery. And the major posting here will be done for 2 months, and the minor posting is done for 1 month here. Okay, sorry for the a bit of delay in technical problem. So for the first week, we was posted to the surgical department, which is Tasser Bedah, which started on the 14th of November. For the first day here, we did go for a hospital tour here in Rumah Sakit Islam Sultan Agong, which is a Sharia compliant hospital, which I find it a bit of interesting concept. If we ever Usim will have our hospital itself, because they are one of the interesting thing that I found. If you can see here, there is a blue light and a red light here. Here it will be found in the physiotherapy area, which the red light indicate that there is a female patient and the blue light indicate there is a male patient here. So the nurse or student who want to observe the procedure done there will we do have aware that what kind of patient here without even have to look inside of what is who is inside the patient. And here is what we go for the tour here in the area for the LASIK for the eye surgery. And here is the cat lab for the PCI that have been done here in the medical. So for the first week, here what we have done here in the surgery. For the first week, we went for the laporan jaga. Laporan jaga is usually very similar to our study with case presentation, which they present the case that has been they have seen in the ward, and a few people will present it. And there is a basic surgical skill by Dr. Bambang and instalasi bedah center, which we go there and assist for the surgery. Here is Dr. Bambang, which teach us the basic surgical skill, including the suturing and using of the tools. And here is a photo of me assisting in a surgery, which they have been give us a lot of opportunity to do that. And then here is my friend Nakib, who assisted in the craniotomy procedure, which very rare to find in our hospital, especially our posted hospital in Hospital Ampang and Hospital Temerloh, which is really nice thing that we have learned here in the Unisula. And then here with the one of the surgeon here in the Unisula, which is Dr. Eko, which we take the picture after we have assisted them in the surgical room, operating theater. And the second day is we went for the clinic with Dr. Vito, which is a digestive surgeon. And here in the Unisula, there is no specific time of walk around such as in Malaysia, which we usually have walk around in the morning and then we do the surgical and we do the clinic. However, here is they can do the walk around after the clinic or maybe in the afternoon. So it's quite a new concept to me. And so here is we went for the clinic at around 2 p.m. And then after the end of the clinic session, we have them for the surgery in the operating room. Yeah, both of picture of us. And then besides we went for the operating room, we also went for the bangsal. Is we have our friend in the bangsal, which is they have to do the follow up for the patient. They have to ready for all the information of the patient before the walk around have been done by the lecturer itself. And then here in our photo of in the clinic, which we take them because in this clinic, some of the doctor needs for the student to take the picture in front of the clinic as the attendance. So here we have took the picture with them also, just so that we can be in the attendance also. And then after the first week, after the first week there, for our last day, which is this is here in the Sunday, which is our rest day. Yes, 2011, doctor. So here in our Sunday, our doctor who hosted the house for us, Dr. Saugi, has arranged for the transport for us to go to the Yogyakarta, which we went there for only one day, which we go out at 6 a.m. and we went back at around 12. And tomorrow we also go to the hospital too, doctor. Don't worry. And then here is with our friend Koas from the radiology department, which they guided us for a few places in the Yogyakarta also. See a few of the picture here. And then we also met up with the friend in the for the Unisula. There's also a few of the outside of the Rumah Sakit Sultan Agong, which is Rumah Sakit at Magelang. So at the Yogyakarta, we have met up with them, two of it, which is they are in the posting of psychiatry posting. So we met up for them to talk and chat about our surgical posting and sharing information about the hospital, our hospital teaching. So for the internal medicine, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. So my name is Muhammad Hakim Al-Fudin bin Al-Qos. So I be to all the staff and lecturer from the Unisula and Usim. So after we do the surgical posting and then we enter the internal medicine posting. So among the activities, so each student must complete their assessment, which is consists of the case-based discussion, mini chats, and also doc. So for the case-based discussion is like do the history taking, and then we present the case to the respective lecturers, and then after that is refer to the certain guideline, which is to the up to date, and then for the heart disease, we refer to the American Heart Association up to date and so on. And then the next one is usually for the internal medicine, we start the class at the 5:30 in the morning. So it's very shock to us actually at the first time, because here at the first time we arrived here, we thought it's same as Malaysia because the subuh at 6 a.m. Actually the subuh here is at 3:40 something. So it's quite surprising lah like that. Then we start with the online class with the Dr. Anna session via Zoom at 5:30 a.m. which is the endocrinologist, and then followed by the Dr. Saugi session at 7 a.m. which is the cardiologist lecturer. And then during that time, the student present their case, discussion, mini chat. Mini chat is like do the consultation to the patient, and then journal reading, which is the student find their papers and then present the papers. And the next one is laporan jaga. So laporan jaga is like the students who do the on call from 2 p.m. until 7 a.m. in next morning. So they need to report all the new admission to the respective lecturers. Then the next one is throughout the 5 days, we went to different 5 clinics involved of cardiology clinic, endocrinology clinic, and also urology clinic. So this one for the attendance purposes. So each time the student need to jaga the IGD, which is emergency department, and also the bangsal, which is ward. So they need to report their attendance by capturing their photo and then send it through the WhatsApp. And then this is the class with the Dr. Anna. Okay, the next one is so we have been given opportunity to enter the Dr. Anna's clinic, which is endocrinologist. And then during that time, Dr. Anna assigned us to consult the patient regarding the insulin use, about the inhaler use, about the diabetic for ulcer, and also inhaler use. So it's what consists of the language barrier lah. Because during that time, has one patient is very poorly uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, which is HbA1c is 15.6. And then I have been asked to consult the patient, but the patient said dia kata dia tidak nangkap macam tu lah. So I need the translator beside me lah. Yeah. So other than that, the procedure also that we have seen about the cath lab. For the cath lab, we have seen 2 PCI and also 1 arteriogram. So I think this is a new experience for us, because in Malaysia we never see this procedure. So thank you so much. And then usually for the PCI and arteriogram was done by the Dr. Saugi, which is provide us the accommodation to live in his house. Okay, the next one, this one is the anaerobic. So this anaerobic is usually done every Tuesday. So the participant is usually from the patients who attend for the follow up. So they need to attend this anaerobic. The purpose for this anaerobic is to encourage the patient to always do the physical activities, and also during the anaerobic also they do the the demo on how to apa hand washing and what so on itulah. Okay. And then the last of the medical posting, we have been given opportunity to join this program, which is basic life support and also SCLS program. So alhamdulillah, and also we got the certificate for the BIS and also SCLS, which is supervised by the cardiologist from the Unisula, from the Undip, which is University Diponegoro, and also the cardiologists from the Jakarta. Then this program, all of them are the doctors, and then only two of us are the mahasiswa. So and the age between us and them were same. We 24 and them 23, 22 like this. Okay, after that, after medical posting, we enter the ilmu kesihatan masyarakat, which is community health. Okay, for the community health, we just go for the 2 days, which is previous 2 days on Monday and also Tuesday. So we were sent to the Puskesmas Ngalian. So Puskesmas Ngalian is satu tingkatan for the Pusat Kesihatan Masyarakat. So in Malaysia also called as klinik kesihatan. So it is located at the Semarang Barat, which is about 15 kilometers from the Unisula. So the service provided by the Puskesmas, which is in Malaysia, is a combination of the KK and also PKD. So but here Puskesmas cover all the words KK and also PKD. So service provider is upaya kesihatan perorangan, which is curative and rehabilitation, which is 20%. It involve the outpatient, IGD, and also klinik ibu dan anak. And the next one is upaya kesihatan masyarakat, which is involve the promotive and also prevention, which is 80%. So this one is about to educate the patient about the importance of having a good health, about the smoking habit, about the dengue area, and so on. So this one, the photo, we got the, and then this one, the two in the middle is Dr. Indah, which is kepala Puskesmas, with the head of Puskesmas, which is she is Dr. Umum. And the next one is Dr. Ratna, which is the coordinator for the EKM. And then the scrub one, the 5 is the Koas EKM. So for the activities, we go to the perkampungan by riding a motorbike. So it's very great experience for us to see the pemandangan kampung apa semua, and then the crowded area, and then see the condition of the house of the patient. So among the activities we do the home visit, which is antenatal and postnatal visit. The activities among we do is check the blood pressure and also check the mid-arm circumference. Other than that, we do the penilaian, which is keluarga sihat and also rumah sihat. So for the keluarga sihat, we ask the patient is there any underlying past medical history, ask about any mental illness in the family. And then for the rumah sihat, we look for the 3 components, which is house, toilet, and attitude. And then for the house, we look about for the atap petak, and then check for the windows, is it okay or not? And then check for the ventilation, is it okay or not? And then the next one is about the toilet. So we look the toilet, is it the water is good or not? And then about the sewage system is good or not? And then does the patient drink a boiled water or just the raw water? And the last one is about the attitude. So we ask about the patient, the attitude. Does the patient always open the window during the day night to make sure the ventilation is okay or not? Something like that. So other activities that we do the inspection to the any stagnant water that consists of lava. And then if we found that, so we just throw it up. And then other than that, we see the river area. So the villagers still washing their clothes in the rivers. and also bowel output and urine output in the river also. Okay, I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Muhammad Nakib, Afifuddin bin Nur Al-Qose, dan Muhammad Alif Hazik bin Nur Zari. Selanjutnya, kami mengundang 9 mahasiswa FK Unisula yang akan menjalani modul elektif internasional di Faculty of Medicine and Science and Health Science, University Sains Islam Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang semuanya. Kami dari Universitas Islam Sultan Agung, kami adalah mahasiswa yang insya Allah akan mengikuti untuk kegiatan elektif modul forensik di Universitas State Islamic Science Malaysia. Perkenalkan, saya Muhammad Basam Farhan Maulid, serta rekan saya, ini adalah Divan Mutia, lalu di sebelahnya adalah Wina, lalu di maju dulu agar terlihat. Ini adalah I think we start to introduce our my name is Muhammad Basam, and my friends here is Divan Mutia and Wina, Nisha, Cendani, is Shafinda, is Anissa, and Akila. And when my friends cannot join to this meeting, she's named Mutiara Putri because she have another meeting in this house. I hope we can good experience in Malaysia, and Usim can get our experience, can give our experience to. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baik Bapak Ibu, sebelum kita masuk ke dalam acara penutupan, kami persilahkan kepada kedua institusi untuk melakukan sesi penyerahan plakat. Selanjutnya adalah penyerahan souvenir dari Fakultas Kedokteran Unisula kepada para delegasi dari Universitas Sains Islam Malaysia. Pada para delegasi dipersilahkan untuk maju ke depan untuk menerima kenang-kenangan. Selanjutnya kami persilahkan kepada para tamu undangan yang hadir secara luring untuk maju ke depan dan melaksanakan sesi foto bersama. Silahkan kepada para tamu undangan untuk bisa melaksanakan sesi foto bersama. Untuk sesi perlengkapan, kami mohon bantuannya untuk menata kursi yang ada di depan. Ya, kalau di sini saya belum ada ya. Kemarin sempat mau bekerja sama, tapi karena belum ada fakultasnya. Baik Bapak Ibu, alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Sampailah kita di penghujung acara mini seminar Visiting Profesor dari Fakultas Kedokteran dan Ilmu Kesehatan University Sains Islam Malaysia. Setelah ini acara akan dilanjutkan dengan istirahat, sholat makan, dan juga tur kampus. Kami mengucapkan terima kasih atas kehadiran dan partisipasi aktif Bapak Ibu sekalian dalam acara ini. Kami pula memohon maaf apabila terdapat hal yang kurang berkenan selama acara berlangsung. Semoga acara pada hari ini dapat memberikan keberkahan serta meningkatkan jalinan kerjasama antara Unisula dan Usim. Marilah kita tutup bersama acara ini dengan bacaan hamdalah dan doa penutup majelis. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Terima kasih. Kami tutup. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.